My journey was like, I was 14 years old. I had like a terrible back injury, spinal injury. And at the time I was like really close to being paralyzed. And the doctor was like, hey, listen, we can either do surgery or you can like do a little bit of physical therapy and then go hit the gym. Just so everybody knows, we met like what, 3 weeks ago?
Yeah, legit,
Yeah.
like three or 4 weeks ago.
And we decided we're gonna partner together and run a podcast and like basically under a week.
Bibi brought it up with calling me. He's like, yo, I need you to meet with this one person. I'm like, okay, like who is this person?
One of my mentors once told me, choose your heart. They're both hard. Choose the one that you want. Not going to the gym is hard because you're gonna be unhealthy, fat, and you're gonna hate yourself. And going to the gym is hard because it's gonna suck, it's gonna hurt. What's going on, guys, and welcome to the Mogul Insider Podcast. It's your host, Adam Tatunji, back at you guys again with another episode. This one's a little interesting because I have not been filming for quite a while, and I decided to, kind of change up how we're gonna do things. I'm actually in my apartment right now, and before we kind of get into today's, entire episode, we're gonna be talking about a lot of cool things in regards to fitness and just our journey to fitness. I want to introduce to you guys faces that you're probably gonna see very often. So I have with me Mustafa and then Malik. We call Mustafa Bibi. So we're gonna go by that. Is that cool, that tag name?
That's totally
Bibi's
chill.
dope?
Yeah,
right.
yeah, 100%.
And we got a nickname for you or what?
No, not yet.
No? All right, well, his name is Malik.
Giraffe.
So
What's up, guys?
Giraffe.
we're gonna call him Giraffe. We're gonna call him Giraffe. So basically what we're gonna do, the way this is gonna go is they're gonna be co-hosting with us, so you're gonna see them in most of the episodes. And we're just gonna be having fun chats around, different things like business, lifestyle, entrepreneurship, fitness, just really having a whole entire talk show. I'm still gonna be also having my interviews. They're gonna be one-to-one. We might sometimes get a fourth guest, but I'm still gonna also be doing my own kind of one-to-one interviews. But yeah, without further ado, this is really freaking exciting, guys. Hella freaking stoked to get this popping.
Yeah, we're finally making it happen, bro.
I know.
I swear to God, with everything that's been happening, and then like today we find out, or yesterday we find out that like one of our production guys is not gonna be able to come set up for today. Some part of me was just like, yo, I don't think the universe wants this to happen. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But I felt like we're just like, no, we're gonna make it happen no matter what's going on, no matter what like obstacles we're hit by. And then finally we're recording.
Yeah, man.
Stoked,
it
dude.
feels surreal, but I think that we should introduce ourselves.
Yeah, we'll get into that immediately. So basically, I'm the story of how we met is really interesting. Just so everybody knows, we met like what, 3 weeks ago?
Yeah, legit,
Yeah.
like three or 4 weeks ago.
Yeah, and we decided we're gonna partner together and run a podcast, and like basically under a week. So you two have your own show. If you want to plug it in, what's the podcast called?
Absolutely. So our show between Malik and I, it's called the King of Average podcast, and it's similar conversations. It's conversations about growth and personal development, and people always ask like, why did you call it the King of Average? What is the King of Average supposed to mean? I feel like it's just because the word average is in there, it kind of like triggers people to think less of it. It's almost like, why are you placing yourself at a standard below?
Yeah.
But the reality of the situation is the King of Average is more of a standard above, right? Because within the world of statistics, the average is made up of everybody. The superlatives of the world, and then the absolute bottom of the barrel, right? And then the average is somewhere right there in the middle. Now, the reality of the situation in most cases in life, it's going to be a little bit difficult for us to find the ability to become a superlative in the world, right? The 1% of whatever we're talking about. So the idea of the King of Average is, if we were to say average is right there, let's be a level above it, because we constantly in that way have the mindset that we're always going up and we're never settling for less.
Yeah.
So
Interesting
the
dynamic.
King of Average podcast.
Did you come up with the name too, or like was it like?
No,
Honestly,
it's something I had to pitch to him. It's funny because I'm going through this entire explanation because he was one of the people that was just like, yo, that's kind of a weird name. Like, you have to explain that to me.
Yeah, because obviously I was one of those people when like you hear King of Average, I'm like, so we're just the kings of just basic. We're the kings of just average. I was like, you want to explain yourself, bro? So once he hit me with that explanation, it really made sense.
I think he has a pretty philosophical way of explaining it.
Exactly. That's why I looked at him. I was like, That was your idea.
Hey, don't
bro.
gas me up too much.
Yeah, but
all right?
you need like a
You guys
need like
can
a
just hate on
2-minute elevator pitch to like explain that though, you know.
Yeah, right. That wasn't like a two sentence thing, man.
How many episodes? You guys have done like a decent amount of episodes.
Now
Now
we
huh?
just finished episode 9.
So
Nice.
we just finished recording episode 9, but we just posted the episode that we had you on,
Yes, sir.
which is episode 7.
What's up? What's up? Yeah, so that's kind of how it went down. Like, so I basically got invited by these guys to get on their show, and I was like, say less, I'm there. You know, it's been a while since I filmed a podcast, and I've been craving it like a drug. Just wanted to like do something, and then was like, what? I remember, I swear to God, it was like probably 53 minutes, right? We filmed.
Yeah.
Yeah, and it felt like friggin' 10.
Yep.
Literally, we're like an hour in. We're like, oh, bro, we gotta cut it. And we're like, what? Really? You can't keep going, you know? And that's when I knew immediately. I was like, yeah, we gotta do something. You know, that there has to be something that happens. So here we are. It's freaking interesting.
Yeah, no, the energy was right for sure, and it was funny because like normally whenever I'm editing like the episodes, I go through a lot of editing to take out like a lot of the unnecessary things, right? The breaks between sentences and stuff like that. But you're just so good at what you do, and you did the most of the talking on that episode, right?
Yeah.
That like my job as editing the episode was just super easy because there was nothing necessarily there for me to cut out. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I just kept most of it. I just kept in. Basically, all of it I kept in because it just flowed so naturally.
No, it was fun. You did keep it. You kept in the part when we were laughing about the mics.
Oh hell yeah,
that was
absolutely.
hilarious. I was like, that's like the first 2 minutes was us like completely screwing up the entire production.
The thing is, I love that part so much. I was like, dude, there's no way I'm gonna get this out. There's no way.
Funny, man.
Yeah, I still remember like listening to the video. I was like, I can't believe he kept this in.
I know, dude. I was like, literally, I'm like, okay, when's this gonna start? It's like, we're just fixing the
Our
microphone.
production team sucks, dude.
I wanna run things solo, and I was just like, yeah, I'm gonna figure it out on my own. And honestly, over time, I've come to realize like partnerships are honestly key for like longevity, right? Just the right partnerships though, because it's really, really important that you find the right people that you work with, because those can either make or break you. And with this podcast, I mean, I'm gonna be honest, like it was kind of like I'll scratch your back, you scratch my back type of situation, and we decided to invest a pretty decent amount of money into equipment. And now we're filming our first freaking episode. So I'm going to shoot it back at you guys, though. Quick introduction about you guys, what you guys do, etc., and all that kind of stuff so that everybody can get a quick gist of you.
Sweet. So my name is Malik Azuz. They guys might be calling me Giraffe because I'm pretty tall. I am 6'5".
He's 4'6".
Yeah, exactly.
It's the opposite.
Yeah, right? It's the complete opposite. And I currently... Well, actually, Bibi and I both have like our own, basically business that we rent out cars, but mostly like from like M3s to Corvettes to Hellcats to all these other higher end sports cars. So we do that together. We've actually known each other since the 6th grade.
6th grade, yeah.
Since the 6th grade.
Damn,
man.
I'm sorry.
No, man, it's just.
No, you know, it's funny. It's funny because in 6th grade we just weren't that close.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
He actually had short hair in 6th grade.
Let's not get into his hair right now.
He's like, that's a whole nother episode.
We're going to do a 45-minute single episode on his hair. Yeah, because I don't even know how he grew that, bro. That's insane.
It's like we start recording, it's a complete intervention about me and my hair. But yeah, go ahead.
All right, yeah. So,
hey, by the way, feel free to just cut us off while we're talking, bro. Like,
yeah, no, exactly.
Just jump in, dog.
Go ahead and explain yourself. Let me go ahead. That's sick. This is going really well. But nonetheless, Bibi and I, we have our own business that we do together. It's more of like a car rental. And then also what brought us together was like we would always have like these major talks that we found ourselves like going from like having a super huge group of friends to then smaller, where like now the closest homies, you can count them like on your fingers. You know what I'm saying? So we realized less is more many times in life. So the quality of people that you keep around you, those are the people that are either going to push you towards success or drag you down.
Complete utter failure like your production, but yeah.
Yeah, no, shout out to this guy, bro.
That's my production.
That's what I'm saying. This is what the friendship has gotten you guys.
If I didn't do what was within my means, this would have never happened.
Big facts.
All right? This would have never happened.
But yeah, nonetheless, I literally saw Adam's short ass, and I just decided,
yo, I'm taller than 4'6", bro. I'm taller than 4'6".
let the money make me 6'5". Yo, maybe that's exactly it. But nonetheless, we all met Adam just about 3 weeks ago, and man, we clicked automatic, and it was honestly so genuine stuff, and I'm super excited just to wanted to have met you, and now just to see where we're gonna go.
Yeah, it's gonna be a lot of fun, dude. A lot. This guy, you sell like honey and stuff like that too, right? Because I'm gonna be honest, bro. I've seen your face everywhere. Like, so part of the Muslim community, guys, is like we have a ton of like, events, and every single event I've ever been to, he's there. He's always selling something, but I've never actually talked to you. Or maybe I have, but it was like just another random bystander walking by your booth. You know
what's funny is that those were the exact first words you told me.
Yeah, really?
Because when our homie introduced us,
yeah,
he goes, "Yo, this is Adam. Adam, this is Mustafa," and then he was like, "Do you guys know each other?" And then you were literally just like, "Bro, I see you everywhere. I see you everywhere." So my family were in a bit of Malik as well. They're in the food industry, but my family's in the food industry as well. We're very well known for Shifat honey. We also sell dates, and my brother does
dates with females or like just
no, like actual
dates. Okay.
Actual.
I'll be like, how much, bro? Like, sorry.
This is like a Salem's premium or something.
That's funny. No, yeah, we're in the dates business. We're in the honey business. We're in the sugarcane business. What else? Palestinian olive oil, right? I'm in the car rental game as well. Shoot, man, what do I not do at this point? I sell watches. What do you want me to?
You sell watches too, bro?
I do a little bit of watch.
What's the real
flipping as
business?
well.
Like, this sounds like all like a front for something.
Just messing. I mean, dude, you're the first one to figure it out, bro. Even the feds couldn't figure it out, bro.
No, yeah, that's what I'm saying, dude. Like, I've seen you like in like literally everywhere. Like, I don't like, mashallah, you're like always just constantly.
But isn't it one thing though, like when you see people throughout your life constantly that you've not necessarily have ever talked to, but do you feel like it makes it easier or harder to go up to them?
I don't get intimidated, so I'm like down to talk to anybody really. Mm-hmm. And if anything, it's more intriguing for me because I'm just like, oh wait, what's up, bro? Like, what you been up to? Like that type of situation.
Yeah.
But I feel like with certain individuals, it might be intimidating.
What he's basically saying is, although he's seen me around for years and years, he's never cared to actually come and say what's up to me.
No, I mean,
rough, dude.
I mean, I'm gonna be honest, bro. I just kind of was like
the hair. Yeah, I get it.
Most of the time, bro, I was like volunteering in the events, and it's just like,
oh, I see.
I'm just moving around, like the conventions and stuff like
that.
I
was kidding.
So imagine this.
I'm hurt, bro.
This. You're in a very busy convention.
Yeah.
And Bibi's looking on the opposite side, long curly hair down. You go up to the booth and you're like, "Hey, can I get a sample?" And then you see, yo. You see Bibi. What does that even mean? You see Bibi, bro. It's just, oh shoot. No wonder you did not talk to the guy, bro.
No, honestly, bro. I've always heard your honey's dope and like the stuff you sell is cool. And you got a good way of introducing yourself and putting yourself out there. So when we got formally introduced, I was like, yeah, heck yeah, what's up, bro? Like, how you been? Like, what's up?
Yeah, no, it was very funny because I feel like the start of our conversation was very much like both of us were just being respectful of the fact that like our mutual friend is introducing us.
Yeah, absolutely.
But then slowly,
by the way, love that guy to death the way he introduces people.
Yo, yeah. Although there's a certain level of cringe, we kind of agreed on that. Still, like the way he has the confidence to just put himself out there.
Oh, I love it.
And like gas up other people. You gotta have respect for the guy.
100%.
Shout out Adam LD.
Yeah, it's another guy named Adam. Basically, the way this guy works, I'll tell you. Like, if he meets you, he'd be like, "Yo, meet this guy, and he just walks away, and it's
Yeah.
just like,
Or he'll be
what
like,
the hell? Like, what just happened?
or he'll be like, dude, look at these photos I took.
Yeah, he shows you his entire resume within the first 30 seconds of talking to him. You're just like, oh, okay, for sure.
Great.
But yeah, that conversation started off, I'll be honest, it was kind of like dry almost, right? And then slowly but surely I was just like, okay, well, you know what, if he's done podcasting in the past, then it'd be a great idea for me to pick his brain a little bit, right? And I feel like just asking you just a couple of questions, all of a sudden you and I hit this next level vibe where I was just like, I'm probably going to see this guy around a lot more. And it was funny because I was sitting there and he was there that night at Garden Grove. And I remember as we were talking the entire time, I'm like looking around in the crowd looking for 6'5", you know?
Yeah.
I'm like looking around for him because I was dying to grab him and introduce him to you.
Yeah.
You know? But yeah, we just caught that immaculate vibe and it was
I was also on 3 shots of espresso, remember?
Oh, word.
Yeah, so it started to hit. And I'm
Word.
just like, damn, like ready to
Yeah.
go. I'm a little curious, bro. How was the conversation with you when he came to you and he's like, yo, I found this like really short dude who happens to talk well. You know, we got to do a podcast with him.
You know, honestly,
How did I bring that up?
Bibi brought it up with calling me. He's like, yo, I need you to meet with this one person. I'm like, okay, like who is this person?
Yeah.
And he's like, oh, this guy has done podcasts before and he does this, does that. You know, it's almost like when you meet a girl, you know what I'm saying? And like, you're so excited
Damn,
about
I
that
gave you the same
conversation.
butterflies, man. Sheesh.
It's the freaking butterflies, bro. And no, but he was really just gassing you up.
I appreciate that, man.
And he
Yeah,
was
a
like,
lot, yeah.
well, I was kind of picking his brain. It turns out that he wants to do his own podcast. He wants to revamp it again. Kind of give us a very, very short summary of everything. And I was like, man, bring him over to the studio and to the King of Average studio. And we made it happen, man.
Yeah, bro.
Yeah.
That studio is like vibes.
Dude, that studio is,
Straight vibes, bro.
it could be like a prison house, bro.
Dude,
But
I walked in there, I was like, yo, is this a prison cell or is this, I'm a little confused what's going on here.
oh my God.
You know, but here we are a couple weeks later doing our own show together, which is freaking dope. And we're going to have a lot of these fun episodes together. So not to bore everybody, let's kind of start knocking doors on the things that we actually want to talk about. So today's focus is going to be on fitness. Shout out to my team, by the way, because we suck at ideation create. Like, I don't know. I'm not that great at it.
Yeah,
Maybe you're a little bit more
speak
creative.
for yourself.
Yeah. Sorry, apologies. Sheesh. But who does most of the talking in the meetings on what we're going to talk about?
Typically your team.
Yeah, exactly. So, so basically, today we wanted to discuss fitness. It just so happens that I think we're all pretty fit dudes. Maybe I'd say we are. I've been working out for like what, 9-10 years now. Yeah, about. I was 16, 9 years when I started, and then I don't know if you've ever lifted a day in your life. But
No. I definitely played a lot of sports growing up. From my 2 main sports being water polo and volleyball, and I went all the way up to like JC just to play good volleyball, and then from there, just went from like making sure I'm maintaining my body, and I really just recently picked up basketball, and it's like my newest passion for sports, man.
yeah, I mean, you got the hype, bro.
Yeah, I definitely do. It's so much fun.
If you don't do basketball, can you dunk?
I can.
You can't dunk.
I'm actually one of like, you'll be surprised the amount of tall people that you'll meet
that can't dunk.
that cannot dunk.
I know, bro. It shocks me. Yeah, that's like a whole like, cause it's funny. I'm 5'7", right? And I've never been able to dunk, but I'll be honest. I've like spent years trying to like, cause in my head I was like, dude, if I can somehow have a vertical that high, that'd be pretty impressive.
You do have like NBA players. I know they're NBA players, but yet again, like Spud Webb,
Yeah.
right? That guy is, he's probably around your height, if not maybe a little shorter. He was in the dunk contest.
I know. Some people just fly. They just fly. It's
Yeah.
unbelievable. And then you got your bachelor's in kinesiology, right?
Yes.
All right.
Okay, that's great. Yeah, the end, guys. Thanks for watching.
He's very social, by the way.
Indeed, I have my bachelor's in kinesiology.
Fix the mustache.
We should get him like a hat, like a Sherlock Holmes hat or something.
Yeah, dude. Bachelor's in kinesiology. Yeah, what about it?
Did you hear anything about what we were talking about for the past 5 minutes?
Yeah, I was focused in, but I feel like
Yeah, totally. So we're talking about like our fitness journeys. You know what I'm saying?
Talking about like our
You know, giving people some resumes so that they know, like, hey, we know a little bit of what we're talking about.
I feel like my fitness journey started with like elementary playground type of vibe. You know what I mean? Because I actually spent most of my pretty much all my childhood really from like 6 to 10.
Yeah.
I was actually in Lebanon. Fun facts. I lived in Lebanon for 4.5 years, and it was like during like younger years, right? And the funny thing is about Lebanon is maybe it was the same culture here, but if you were the fastest kid on the court, not even like soccer wise, not even basketball wise, none of that. If you just get from point A to point B the quickest, for some reason you had the most respect. You know what I mean? So I was always one of those kids who was like competing for that top spot, right? And then I come back to America, and then immediately I was just like, oh, did someone say track and field? Duh. You know what I mean? So that became my calling, right? Even back when we were in OCS together in 6th grade, 8th grade, you know, I always had the fastest mile time, you know? And so, you know, running to me was just a very natural, obviously from my upbringing and whatnot. Ran track for 5 years, 4 years in high school, 1 year at the same community college as him. And then from then, same thing, just trying to like, you know, make sure I keep up with fitness in one way or another. Recently, as of 2 years ago, I decided, you know what, I want to be a part of a sport again. So let me play rugby.
Rugby.
That's
interesting.
It's
still doing it?
Huh?
Still doing it?
Yeah.
Nice.
We actually, the season just ended.
Oh, sick.
Not too long ago. Like literally, I think our last game was within the first week of Ramadan. Kind of insane, but like even if I'm like fasting and the games come around, I'll still play.
Yeah.
You know, but yeah. So our last game this season was during Ramadan. And from then, I've just been chilling, really, just hitting the gym.
That's sick, dude. Yeah, that's dope. My journey was like, I was 14 years old. I had like a terrible back injury and spinal injury. And at the time, I was like really close to being paralyzed. And the doctor was like, hey, listen, we can either do surgery or you can do physical therapy for many years, or you can like do a little bit of physical therapy and then go hit the gym. Because like if you strengthen your back muscles, then you can protect the certain, you know, the tissues that are like messed up. I'm all right, say less. Like I'm gonna go. Like I literally had no care to go to the gym. I had like a friend of mine at the time who was like hella into the gym, but I personally did not necessarily was like, you know, caring about it. And then I started and I got into it, and it just, you know, I feel like you kind of get addicted, right? You kind of like start to gain some muscle, you gain some confidence, you build up like some mental stamina, you're able to like really push through your limits. And I think that to me, that like the whole process is very addicting. So yeah, 9 years later, here I am still working out every single day. And Ramadan's been a little tough, so definitely did not do that. But
so it becomes who you are.
Yeah, for sure.
Right? It almost becomes like an identity where you start saying, instead of, I work out, you're like, I'm an active guy. Instead of being whatever it is, like you eventually, that becomes your identity towards who you are, whether it's a businessman or whether it's, you know, the podcaster, whether it's whatever it is. Like eventually, if you do something so often, you eventually adapt that identity.
Yeah.
So
that's... Dude, fitness is so important. It's so key because like it helps with how I run my business. It helps with how I function, how I communicate, my confidence.
Let's be honest, mental health.
Mental health, it's huge.
Yeah.
But the biggest thing, I think it really, like you said, it creates your identity, but you also kind of like turn into this like individual who's a complete savage because when you're not feeling it and you go work out and it's painful and you're like going through this entire process and you're sore, it also kind of, you take that and you're able to relate that to other things in life. Like if you're building a business and it's not working out too much and it's not necessarily doing what you want it to do and you have employees who aren't necessarily performing the way you want them to perform, now all of a sudden you're kind of using that same mentality of I'm going to keep going, I'm going to keep hitting at it, even though if it hurts, it sucks, I'll eventually get to a point where I will succeed, because just like how I spent so many years in the gym, I look amazing now. It took a while, but here I am 6, 7, 8 years looking pretty fit. I can do the same thing in other areas of my life. It teaches you a lot about like discipline, patience, and just a lot of other lessons. You know, I feel like, and I think that's kind of the biggest thing that fitness does for me. And I mean, at this point too, now, like I have like a long day at work, I'm stressed out, I just go hit the gym, it feels freaking great, you know? It's a way to like pump some iron and get, you know, get that anger out in different ways, in different healthy ways.
Yeah, it's all about getting your reps in. It's all about getting your reps in. Whether your energy is off that day, whether after work you're mentally fried, you don't feel like going to the gym, you know, you're tired, you're exhausted, whatever the case is, you got to always tell yourself, like, the reps that I'm going to get in now, even though they're not going to be the best reps, they are still going to have an effect for the bigger picture. Me skipping out on today is something that I'm going to regret a year down the line, because I could have been so much further ahead had I not skipped. So it's just getting your reps in, getting done as often as possible.
He just stops.
So there was a mention. So there was a mention of my degree, right? Kinesiology. I mean, I'll tell you what. The reason why I got into kinesiology was because, like, you know, I felt like fitness was always just a huge part of my life, right? And it's something that I genuinely enjoy. But one of the biggest elements as to why I chose kinesiology as a degree is because it's knowledge that has application, right? And similarly, this is what I find very beautiful about Islam. Is it's not just about, hey, you learn something, like let's say, for example, a communication major.
Who?
No, communication. Actually, a communication degree actually could have a lot of implications, right? No, absolutely it could. I mean, I'll tell you what. This dude gave me a list from like things to, like pointers basically for any interview, to ace any interview from an interviewing class that he took. I used that multiple times and scored jobs with that. So I'm not trolling on you at all. But when it comes down to kinesiology, it's literally knowledge that you can apply. You learn something in the classroom, you go home and apply it, and you benefit your body. And you see the results a week, 2 weeks, a month later, right? So that's what I found so amazing, so astonishing about it. And I found that like you should have seen me in class sometimes. Legit, sometimes the teacher would be describing something, and I would just sit there and go, whoa.
You're like feeling your body.
Yeah, no, I would legit, like, because it's just, subhanAllah, it's just really, really cool when you get into like the intricacies of how the body works. And, you know, when you do something, it causes your body to react a certain way. It's just really awesome.
I'm going to put you on the spot.
Go ahead.
All right. So, like, what are like a couple of things that you remember hearing in class and going, whoa, this is pretty dope?
Okay. All right. Well, you definitely put me on the spot there.
Yeah. I'm going to see, bro. This guy's talking about how he got a bachelor's degree. Let me see if you remember anything.
That was also 4 years ago, so.
Stop capping, bro. You still.
I didn't go to college.
He actually dropped out.
You still know, I feel like a decent amount related to your.
Yeah, I get pretty nerdy sometimes.
All right, go ahead.
I get pretty nerdy sometimes.
We're all ears. Give us one.
Well, I'll tell you what. We dissected cats before.
Hey, man, listen, bro. Relax.
I know. Leave the cat.
Leave the cat out of this, bro. The cat is just sleeping down here, bro.
You know what? It's kind of.
Just take your time.
Yeah, I was gonna say,
Just take your time.
give me a minute to think about it.
Think
All right,
about it,
I'll give him a
right?
minute.
That was a very tough question. Bro.
Yeah.
It was like, bam.
Yeah, let me.
Right,
You
right.
gotta
I have
be ready,
a lot
bro.
of.
No,
Let me
I'm
pull
being
up,
as sarcastic as possible, bro. This guy cannot think
let
off
me
his
pull up
feet,
my
bro.
Google Docs. Pull up some notes from my
Google
class.
Docs, dog. That's hilarious. No, I think, you know, it's aside from the mental benefits, you know, I think it also, and aside from the disciplinary benefits and aside from the health benefits and all that stuff, I like, no hate here, I'm not trying to fat shame anybody, but like, I ain't trying to be out of shape, you know? I don't think it's, having to wake up and being tired when you wake up sucks, you know? I think it's like, I did go through a period of time last year where, you know, I had a lot of stress going on with the company and a lot of things happening. And so I put on a lot of weight, more weight than I've ever put on before. It was like, I got up to like 215, dude. And
You at 215?
Yeah, bro. I was at 215 pounds, you know? No, it was pretty heavy. And I was like, yup, this is not it. You know, like I got that like trigger. Like I get moments in my life where like I get to a point where I get so mad at being mad. Like, you know what I mean? Like you're getting sick and tired of being sick and tired type of situation. And you're like, nope, this ain't happening. So I went on like a really, I mean, Frankie knows, man. I started working out. I started doing in the morning, I would go do a spin class. Listen, don't judge. So I hate cardio.
Spin classes
Yeah,
are low-key
spin classes are lit. Guys, if you're watching this, like, and you do not like cardio, go do a spin class because, like, it's a party on a bike, dude. You
Yeah,
know, and like,
facts.
you know, got the music pumping, and you just feel good, and it's 45 minutes of high intensity.
Dude, I've always wanted to lead a spin class.
Dude, same. I've done it.
Have you really?
Dude, I swear to God,
Man.
dude, I'll tell you, bro. I went to the gym, and I'm like taking these spin classes, and I fell in love. And I'm like, this is lit, right? And so I start going like to 2 spin classes a day plus lifting every single day, 6 days a week.
Wow.
Right? And then about like 2 weeks in, my extroverted ass was just like, I literally just walk right up to the instructor. Yeah, I was gonna call her professor. The instructor. and I'm like, yo, listen, can I like co-instruct with you? Because they have like another bike, a podium bike. Mm-hmm. And then she goes, sure. And I was like, well, that was easy. And like literally, bro, like 2 days later, I'm like pooping my pants because it's like 6:30 in the morning. I got to get up, and I'm like, yo, I'm about to instruct my first spin class, and I barely just started like a couple of weeks ago. Dude, that was the most nerve-wracking thing ever.
Oh, that's so dope.
Because the spotlight's on you, the lights are all off in the freaking room, and it's just you and the instructor, and you have to like, you got to go ham. Like, bro, if you're like at a point where you're like a student and something happens, you can kind of like, you're tired, you catch a breath, you could stop. You know, but when you're up there,
You're supposed to be the example for everyone.
100%.
No,
You ain't stopping.
You're
bro.
like,
You ain't stopping. But you know what's interesting? When I got on stage and I had to perform, and this just goes to show you, like, when you put yourself in uncomfortable situations, you know, not to turn this into like a motivational perspective or quote here, but like when you
turn it into a motivational
you know, but when you put
perspective.
yourself in, it's honestly interesting because I found myself when I was not on the podium, I had less energy than when I was on the podium. And it was it was so eye-opening for me. And I remember at that stage, like I go through a lot of moments in my life where I'm like, I don't like this. So I'm gonna go and try to do something to fix that, even though it feels hella uncomfortable. And the amount of things I learned in that journey and the amount of cool relationships I established in those kind of journeys are phenomenal. I mean, I met a lot of cool instructors. I learned a lot of cool new things. And yeah, man, when I got on that podium, surprisingly, 45 straight minutes, just nonstop. And I was not tired. I finished that and I was like, can we go again?
See, I'm not surprised that happened to you because it's almost like when you're out in public and you know people are like watching you. It's not even like you think about it, you actually know people are watching you. Your posture is going to be the best that it will possibly be.
Yeah, 100%.
As opposed to like if you're by yourself, if you're just with the boys or whatever it is, you're like, I can speak like us tall people, we're known to have pretty bad posture just because we need to slouch over back to society. You know, say it to the rest of y'all.
Slouch over back to society.
That's an arrogant giraffe right
Yeah. We'll let that one slide.
What did he say? No, but when you're put on the spot, when all eyes are on you, you're gonna perform. You're gonna try to show the best version of yourself. And I feel like by you a couple of weeks ago not knowing anything to being a student to like being put on the spot or forcing you put yourself on the spot.
Yeah, I love doing that kind of stuff. Just like,
You force yourself. You're like, failure is not an option. I'm not gonna come off as like a fool or whatever it is to all these people. I'm gonna freaking put on a show. And you did.
You know what's crazy too? I'm sure you guys have heard of the philosophy of like whatever you tell your brain, you eventually find evidence that supports that thing. So like if you say you can't do something, you'll eventually find evidence on reasons why you can't do it.
They call it the self-fulfilling prophecy.
So and there's a negative and a positive to it. Where like if you tell yourself you can't do something, you'll find reason, and if you tell yourself you can do something, you also find reasons. I get on to this podium thinking I'm gonna suck, and I'm gonna be like, people are gonna be laughing at me. And bro, I'm up there, and the perspective that I saw was so interesting. Everybody in that class was struggling. Nobody was actually doing anything right? And I'm just like, oh, what the hell am I? Like literally, I remember 5 minutes in, I'm like, yo, let me just vibe to the music and have fun. Like, who the hell cares? And so I just kind of let loose and I did my thing. And right after, I smacked you not, bro. Like, tons of people came up to me, probably like 7 to 10 people, multiple classes just dabbing me up. Yo, that was so sick. Like, you motivated the hell out of us. You know, I really appreciate you. You should do it again. And I'm just like, okay, like, that's dope, you know? And it just goes to show you really, like, when, like, seriously, if you just kind of push through things, you'll find ways into it. But anyway, moral of the story is spin classes are dope if you want to do cardio.
You don't really know who you're inspiring to.
Yeah, that's big facts. Yeah, that's huge. You know? Especially, like, for example, this podcast. I'm sure, like, you might meet people one day and be like, yeah, listen to your podcast. I'm sure it's happened to you guys already. You know, I saw it kind of.
I actually get DMs every single week, right? It's by this one guy I went to high school with. And even in high school, we were never really that close. But I randomly met him up at the gym as I was working out, like a couple months ago. And we rekindled quickly our relationship. And we had each other on Instagram. This guy is one of, like, every single week, every single Tuesday, he always DMs me. How he felt, different pointers of how he felt about the podcast that week, the episode and stuff. And it's, yeah, you never know, man. That's the beauty of it.
Isn't it funny how when you think you're, like, performing subpar, others think you're, like, a rock star? It's like,
or
really
if you stop something, people be like, "Man, why'd you stop that?"
Yeah, and you're like, "What? You were
like,
listening?
You were paying attention?"
Yeah, it's interesting. Did you figure out your one thing that I asked you for?
No, I haven't. I didn't really think of an example, but the only question I have is, what color is your degree?
I don't have one.
Exactly.
Yeah, I know. My resume's fatter than yours, though. I'll tell you that.
Facts.
Just joking.
No, but one point, like, that made me think of with your whole, like, spin class story.
Yeah.
One thing that I was thinking of was, like, when you're forced to be in a leadership position, some people really do have that personality trait to grab that opportunity by the horns and lead it in the right direction and actually do something proper with it. And I feel like there's a lot of times, a lot of different, like, times in life where you'll be forced to be put in a leadership position even though you didn't ask for it. But you'll kind of notice, like, hey, if it's not me, then who else? Which means I have to be the one who does something about it right here, right now. And it's opportunities like that I've always noticed build the most confidence in me as a person. It's opportunities like that make me learn more about myself, also make me learn more about others, right? So I thought that was a very, very cool experience.
No, facts.
So you went on to talk about, you know, how some people are basically put in the spot of leadership or just in general, and they need to perform. But you still weren't able to answer a simple question.
Wow. I thought he was going to say something like philosophical.
That's all
he took a shot, bro. He didn't just take a shot. He just went at you, bro. Your whole, like, that's dead ass, dude. Bro, okay, so we're gonna almost come to the end of this. We're gonna keep this one short.
Screw all of you. I'm gonna check my Google Docs.
It's gonna fill it up. We're gonna keep this one short because we gotta still, you know, ramp up the setup with batteries. But, you know, one question I got from, you know, my team member who was helping us with this was, like, I get this question a lot actually from my team. I don't know about Frankie, but, you know, I've heard this from other people. It's like, how do you stay motivated and disciplined? I'm going to give my perspective. I'd love for you guys to kind of give your 2 cents. But I have a very intense military type of mentality, right? Like, I don't believe in the whole aspect of motivation. And I don't necessarily, like, sure, I've had moments where I felt motivated and great to do something. But I genuinely don't operate based off how I feel. I just shut that off. And I go, what is my end goal? I have to get here. This is what I need to do. And I line up the things that I got to get done. And I just go get it done. And I don't want to sound like this guy who's, like, giving you this advice and it just sounds so simple, but really, I think people overcomplicated everything. Like, oh, let's say, like, we want to work out. Oh, I got to make sure I'm taking the right supplements. Oh, I got to make sure I have the right diet plan. Oh, I got to make sure I got the right workout routine. Oh, I got to make sure this. Bro, how many times have you worked out in the past year? Oh, 3 times? Mm-hmm. Like, bro, just get started. Like, like what are you doing trying to perfect something that you have no idea about? It's kind of like the thing with my spin class. I didn't know what the hell was going to happen, but I just threw myself at it. And it's worked 100% of the time because you'd be shocked as a human being how adaptable you are to your circumstances. That's kind of my 2 cents because I don't really walk into things if I'm motivated. I just know I got to get it done. I want to be fit. I want to have a successful business. I want to launch this podcast. I want to have beautiful people on my team who are like super supportive and, you know, provide jobs for others. And like, that's it, period. That's the only reason I do something. That's the only reason that wakes me up. And if I feel like ass about it, then honestly, man, I look at like others and like, I'm like, that guy did it. That guy did it. Or like right now too, I've like gotten to a point in my career where I've put myself in a corner where I have to perform. Like Frankie's getting a kid in like a couple months, right? And congratulations to him, by the way.
Frankie.
Yeah. So, which is freaking phenomenal. But the thing is, if I decide one random Thursday that I just don't want to work, he's going to take a hit. How's that fair on him? You know, and so that's another thing too, and I'll pass it on to you guys once I'm done with this. But, you know, if some of you guys that are listening to this have an issue getting motivated, try to create accountability through others around you. Because I think that's huge. That's why people hire coaches and things like that, right? Like if you have someone else who's like, I heard this interesting quote that said, if you want to, like, don't do something to make your dad proud. I think I'm paraphrasing here, but do something to be an example to your son, even if you don't have one. And if you put yourself in that position, it's like, you're no longer thinking like, oh, I have to do this because I was taught to. You're like, dude, I have to show up because if I don't, there's other, you know, issues that will occur to other people, and that's not cool. Mm-hmm. So
I really hope that you actually find that quote, because even you paraphrasing it, I looked at Bibi and I was like, wow.
It shifts the dynamic, huh?
So going back to what I said and previously is, in order to stay motivated, your friend group. Also, your identity. So if you're not feeling motivated, if you're feeling sick, if you're feeling like you're just not in the mood to do something, you are a business person. You are a businessman. You're a businesswoman. You are a person that is the boss. You identify as that, and you use that to drive you, because there's no way that a person that performs in high calibers, such as like what, an Elon Musk, or like leaders of the nation, whatever it is, they're tired, they're sick, they got a whole bunch of stuff to do, but they still perform at the end of the day. So you said something that's very important. You don't go based on your emotions, because 1 second you're super happy, the other second you're tired, the other second you're this. You know what I'm saying? So like our emotions are very, for the most part, unstable, but our progress should stay stable. At the end of the day, you have a routine. You do whatever it needs to take in order to complete it. Whether you're tired, you're sad, you're this, you're that, you're gonna have to do what it needs. You're gonna have to do what it takes in order to complete a task. So I feel like when it comes down to staying motivated, identify of who you are exactly. If you're a person that is a bodybuilder, for example, right? You're a person that constantly works out. It doesn't matter if it's rain, if it's shine, if you're this, if you're that, you're going to work out. You're going to do whatever it is. So I feel like in order to stay motivated, you have to have that mentality of just, I'm not going to fail.
Identity is huge. Yeah.
I'm not going to fail. There's no way I'm going to fail, because forget how everyone else is going to view me. Because I was telling Bibi the other day, right, on our podcast, people are always going to talk. Regardless of whether you actually complete something or you didn't, they're going to say something. Yeah. Right?
Absolutely.
So at the end of the day, might as well have them, give them something positive to talk about you. You know what I'm saying? So with all that said, man, stay motivated. That's up to you. And that's up to hopefully your good friend, your friend,
the friend group that you surround yourself with.
That can just
guys like this guy, you know?
I have a kinesiology degree.
What's your perspective before we wrap up on this?
What's my what?
Your perspective before we wrap up on this.
Huh? The motivation aspect?
Yeah.
Motivation for me is pretty simple. It kind of mainly comes off of, well, there's a very, very hugely important quote that I came across recently. You'll never have regret after having completed something good, but you'll always feel regret after having not completed it. So this is something, I think we were mentioning it earlier in the podcast that I was explaining. You sit there and you go, I need to hit the gym. I'm really not in the mood, but I really should. I'm really tired, but I'm mentally exhausted, blah, 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 blah. You have this back and forth conversation with yourself. If you manage to force yourself into those double doors of the gym, get whatever kind of a workout you can, and then get out, check your emotions on your way out from the gym. Chances are you're going to walk out of the gym and you're going to be like, I'm glad I came.
Yeah. 100%.
I'm glad I came. Because you're never going to regret having done something good.
Yeah.
But you're always going to regret having not done it. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And another thing for motivation for me is it's kind of like, if you want to complete a task, right? Let's say, for example, your dream physique, right? Think of it like a Michelangelo sculpture, right? You have to pick away at it inch by inch, right? Detail by detail. And the fact of the matter is when you're sculpting a sculpture, what you could do is you can work on it for 5 minutes a day, or some days you can just not work at it. But what does that mean? That means the artwork is not going to be completed until way further down the line. And so the conversation I always have with myself is, hey, if I'm consistent for the next 3 to 6 months, if I'm consistent for the next 1 to 5 years, if I'm consistent for the next 10 years, how much closer to my dream body will I be compared to skipping out on the days I just didn't feel like it?
Or just general, besides like the whole body, just your dream period.
Your dream period, absolutely.
Yeah.
It's like the more you lag it today, the more you lag it on a daily basis, the further away that achievement's going to be.
Yeah, see, I think mindset is so important. Like, I know it sounds cliche, but really how you think shapes your life, you know? Because there's a lot of ways we can sit here talk for hours on different ways you can stay motivated, right? But
it's up to you at the end of the day.
Honestly, it is up to you. And I like what you said about like how you identify, like who are you as an individual? And one thing I do a lot, and we'll end it here after this, is that, you know, I'm sure you guys have heard this before. I have like a second personality in here, right? Not to sound crazy, but, you know, and that person is like my future self, you know, and that person is like the guy that's dying, you know, whatever, how old I am. Like when I'm sitting here on my deathbed, what am I going to be thinking about? You know, am I going to be thinking about the days that like I didn't go to the gym more? Or am I going to be thinking about the days that I didn't feel like it and went to the gym? Like which days will hit me harder? Or forget the gym, like the days where I didn't want to work and I ended up working, or the days, you know, so on and so forth. Mm-hmm. And you always find that like any logical human being wants to be the best version of themselves. I don't necessarily think I've ever met anybody who's like, nah, I just want to be a failure. You know, it's the unfortunate circumstances that they might face every day that shapes the way they think, that then they victimize themselves and start to negate certain situations and over time create a interesting reality that they need to dig themselves out of, right? But at the end of the day, I really don't think as human beings we want to suck. I don't. I just really think that, and we can have a whole other episode on this, is just how you shape the way you think is so important. Perspective matters, man. It's huge. Everybody here in this circle right now talking about positive perspectives. You know, you got an identity. You're like, it's really simple. The way I got to look at it is like, see how you feel after you do that hard thing. And I'm over here talking about the different things and how I just throw myself at stuff. We're all go-getters, you know, and that's why we're sitting on this table. And, you know, alhamdulillah, we have successful businesses. We've done really cool things in our lives, because at the end of the day, like, we know that it's going to suck both ways.
Yes.
You know, and I'm going to end it with this. One of my mentors once told me, choose your hard. They're both hard. Choose the one that you want. Not going to the gym is hard because you're going to be unhealthy, fat, and you're going to hate yourself. And going to the gym is hard because it's going to suck, it's going to hurt, and it's going to be, you know, a tough position to be in. But not opening a business, it's going to hurt. It's going to be hard because you're going to have financial issues, and you're going to, you know, always be, you know, no hate to the 9-to-5ers. If you like that, then so be it. But you're never going to have like time freedom, and you're not going to be able to do the things that you love. Opening a business is going to be hard because you're going to have to go through financial struggles to eventually probably maybe figure it out. And I love that when he told me that, because he's like, just choose your hard. And I was like, whoa, that's very profound. Anything else to add on before we?
That was, dude. I just been hit with a whole bunch of quotes today. That's freaking sick. That was.
I think
good.
that was an epic mic drop.
Choose your heart, ladies and gentlemen. So so we'll end it off here, guys. I appreciate you a lot so much for kind of like watching and tuning in. If you guys enjoyed, remember leave a like and subscribe to the channel. We're gonna have a lot of these episodes. We're probably gonna be filming once a week.
Yes.
We're doing them Fridays, so I don't know when the heck to expect to drop. I don't want to say it now. We're just gonna figure it out as we go. But if you guys do have any like specific questions or anything you guys want us to discuss or any topics you want us to dig deep into, we're gonna create like a form for you to kind of like submit your name or if you want to remain anonymous, then that's totally fine. And then just a question or topic that you want us to talk about, and we'll make sure to hit it. Love you guys a lot. Any last words before we?
This is exciting.
This
Honestly,
is fun.
I thought of something from my no, I'm just kidding.
I was like,
we finally figured it out, boys.
Like, no, he didn't.
Oh my god! Oh my god! Oh, that's so funny.
This was mad cringe, dude.
For you. For you.
No, this was actually a fire recording.
Yeah, dope.
But
And there's
otherwise-
many more to come. Guys, leave your feedback down below. Really appreciate the transparency here, and we're just trying to be the best we can, and I hope you guys enjoy everything we're releasing for you guys. And we'll see you guys in the next episode. Peace.
Peace.